evening, my fellow Tottenham fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Big Dave, bringing you your predicted lineup as Tottenham travel north to take on Newcastle and look to get revenge on the 6-1 defeat up there last year. Now, what I will say is Newcastle are absolutely ravished with injuries. I believe they got 12, 13 injuries, so it's nowhere near a full-strength team, and we have a really good chance of taking all 3 points. So hopefully we go up there to storm the castle, which I cannot wait for. But let's get into the predicted lineup and the team that I think Ange Postecoglou will pick to take home all 3 points. Retaining his place between the sticks is Guglielmo Vicario. He really stepped up last week when it mattered against Nottingham Forest, pulling off some crucial saves, which was the springboard for our victory. Also, let's not forget Hugo Lloris conceded 5 goals within 21 minutes up here last year and also quit on the team at half-time. So, anything better than that from Vicario is a win in my eyes. At left-back, big dog Destiny Udogie, who has not looked himself the last 4 games, especially defensively compared to the usual bar that he sets for that. I don't know whether it's complacency or tiredness. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. However, we do not have an adequate backup or replacement for him, so he will retain his place here. At right back, Postman Porro retains his place, and hopefully he takes that delivery service up north as well. He got on the score sheet last week, and they're the sort of positions I want to see Pedro Porro take up a hell of a lot more. He poses such a goal threat. He's absolutely lethal. He's got the finishing of a striker, and if he picked up them positions a lot more, he'd probably get a lot more goals to his game. However, defensively, he is going to have to stay switched on. He is up against Anthony Gordon, who will absolutely run the legs off him that way all game long, and he'll also track him back as well. So it's going to be an absolute fascinating battle, and they're both hotheads, so a potential flashpoint here. At right-sided centre-back, it will be the Argentinian assassin retaining his place here. He's been absolutely phenomenal all season long. One thing I'm noticing about his game lately is how good he actually really is on the ball. I always knew he was good, but he's a lot better, and he's starting to show that come towards the end of this campaign, starting to sometimes bypass the midfield with his passing and putting it forward out to Udogie on the left-hand side in behind that midfield into dangerous areas. But also, questions around his hot-headedness seem to have calmed down an awful lot. And for me, Romero's been superb all season and is on his way to claim that world-class tag. Left-sided centre-back, and this guy should be full of confidence after his Van de Boom Boom strike against Forest last week, and that is Mickey van de Ven, who was also superb defensively as well, winning all 5 of his ground duels and registering a match-high 5 tackles, which goes alongside his goal. He's also going to be absolutely crucial with his recovery pace in stopping Isaac getting in behind. Into the number 6 role, which seems to have a lot of contention around it lately. A lot of people actually maybe rethinking their thoughts on Højbjerg and actually maybe asking for him to start. However, I don't think Højbjerg is a part of Postecoglou's plans next year, and I do think Ange is here thinking long-term. And despite what you think of Basuma, I do think he'll retain his place here, and hopefully he can put in a man-of-the-match display and prove some people wrong. Moving on to the number 8 role, and I do think this will be the one change you will see in the lineup, and it is Rodrigo Bentancur, who's really pushing for a starting position. Of course, he came off the bench at half-time last week against Nottingham Forest and absolutely changed the game with an assist as well for Porro's goal, and I do think he'll get rewarded here. And to complete the midfield, the number 10 role, and I do think James Maddison will retain his place here. I know he has not been on form of late. Again, another sort of dry performance from him against Nottingham Forest. I do believe half of his problem is he's getting on the ball far too deep. He's getting on the ball facing the midfield, where we want Maddison is getting on the ball behind that midfield. That's where he'll really start creating havoc. And maybe for him, maybe he needs to be a bit more disciplined and realise that and start getting in behind the midfield and making yourself an option. Moving into the forward line, and we will start with left wing, and I do think Timo Werner will retain his place here. He's becoming a lot more consistent in the final third in terms of his crossing. However, still a lot of question marks around his finishing. These are the sort of games where he might get one chance, and it might be a chance that he needs to take to put 3 points on the board for Tottenham. If the chance comes his way, he will have to take it. And if he does, he might start proving some doubters like me wrong. Over to right wing, and I do think Brennan Johnson will retain his place here. I don't think Kulusevski helped himself with his appearance off the bench last week, so I do think Brennan Johnson will retain his place. For me, I don't think Johnson was at his best last week. I do think his performance levels dropped. For me, I want to see a lot more consistency when we do select him. For me, I'd rather him be at a 7 every week rather than a 9 one week and a 5 the next week. However, he is on form in his last 3 games. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist. And this game, potentially, if Hall is out, he could be up against Dan Burn. And if he is, I want to see him run the legs off him every single time he gets the ball. If he is up against Hall, he is relatively inexperienced at this level. So for me, Johnson could be the guy to carve them open. And with Richarlison's injury, that does mean that Sonny will stay up front for this game. For me, much better last week against the low block. Started to affect the game a little bit more than what he has against low blocks, which maybe he's learning, which is a good sign. However, in front of goal, I do think he's a bit hesitant to pull the trigger, and I don't understand why. When Son is at his most lethal best, as soon as he gets a sighting of goal, he pulls that trigger. It's nice and quick, nice and sharp. I get back to that, Sonny, and he'll be able to hopefully fire us into Champions League football come the end of the season. It'd be no harm, no goals in these last two games, be no harm for him to find form here, heading into a big week of Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. But guys, that's my predicted lineup. Give me yours in the comment section below, along with your score predictions as well. Make sure you're up bright and early. Join me for 9:30 for the pre-match build-up as we do look to go and storm the castle. As always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty hands we trust. We never stop.